Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Game On Hai. Today we shall be discussing two important matches. One is quite significant, that Bangladesh and England, they play for the first time in the history of T20 internationals. And it will be an inaugural game of cricket, of course, the first for both the teams in this ongoing competition. And then Scotland taking on Namibia should be a close game. Probably Scotland, their growth was interrupted within this tournament when they fell for only 60 against Afghanistan. So we need to discuss loads. We have with us the left-handed genius of his times, David Gower. Good to see you, sir.
Very good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
And we have the only one ever, who ever ordained the cricket field. None has come before him, none shall come after. Sir Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards. Good to see you, sir. It's always a pleasure that you are present here on PDB Sports. Thank you, sir. And we have our friend now turning into like an Englishman, and he always tries to impress me with his vocabulary, and that's Aaqib, Javed, the former Pakistan fast bowler. Aaqib, how are you? Good to see you.
How are you, sir?
You're actually trying to distance yourself a bit.
I'm moving.
Moving out of And we have the former Pakistan women captain, the pride of Pakistan, Sana Mir. Good to have you here in the studios, Sana.
Thank you, Doctor.
So, David, let's start with your favorite team, Bangladesh or England?
Well, as a neutral admirer of the world of cricket, interesting game actually, because the history, and I know history is important in our game, is they haven't, as you say, met in a T20 international, but they have met twice in ODIs.
Yeah.
And the record so far favours Bangladesh.
Yeah.
One was in Bangladesh, one was in Australia.
Yeah.
Owen Morgan, as captain of England, was present for both. So we've talked a little bit about incentives, what drives people to do well. And for Owen Morgan, as captain of England today, this is a big chance to say, right, those two games happened a long time ago, they are part of history, and of course England are one of the favourite teams in this tournament, so they want to just make sure they get the right result out of this. Now, the interesting things will be the sort of the challenges posed by some of the Bangladesh bowling to some of the vaunted English batsmen. Spin will be obviously part of this. So tactics both from Bangladesh with the ball, England maybe with their batting order. It'll be interesting to see what adjustments are made to counter the possible threats. Because obviously on paper, you would say England are the stronger side. England are very much favourites to win this game. But Bangladesh at home in UAE, they become a possible threat to anyone, even though they lost the other day to a very successful Sri Lanka team. Yeah.
But David, another thing, like Owen Morgan, obviously he's one of the finest captains in white ball cricket, and he'll be pitted against Mahmudullah, who seemed slightly out of sorts, not in terms of the tactical part, but even his strategy to employ himself and Afif Hussain when those young left-handed batsmen were like at the crease. So don't you think that it will also be a grueling competition between the two, because Morgan is a seasoned campaigner?
Yeah, I'm not going to say grueling, but I mean, what I would say is this. And the point made the other day is that captains can only work with the resources at their disposal. So the job is obviously harder for Mahmudullah, because on paper, the world rankings of each player, both the two teams, suggest that he has to get more out of his players. What Owen Morgan needs to do is make sure he gets the best from his. If Owen Morgan gets the best from the England team and the key players, then England will win. That's just the mathematics of it. But this game is not just about mathematics. Yes, you look at a scorecard, the numbers are plain. You get more runs than the opposition, you win the game. But it's an interesting battle. But I think Mahmudullah needs a bit of luck as well. He doesn't have the reputation that Morgan has as a captain. You're absolutely right. Morgan is one of the best, if not the best, international captain in the short form of the game. And I take my hat off to him every time I see what he does on the field because of that. But he just wants, for instance, he wants, say, Jos Buttler, who's in great form at the moment, to carry on that form today, because he's one of the people most likely to play the shots that will deal with the spin.
But David, you have to be thankful to Ireland that they exported such a genius to England.
We've never been averse to taking resources from where we can find them.
So where we're enjoying. So, sir, I think 80% of the English team, it's based on non-English.
80?
That's a huge number.
Show me the proof. Show me the proof.
This look well, 80%, as you said, well, it sounds like the rest of the world team to me.
Okay, rest of the world. Right. David.
I was going to carry on. I was going to do some research. Birthplaces.
The last game which England played, there were only 3 Englishmen.
3 Englishmen?
Yeah. Out of 11.
Out of 11. So, David, now this is like, sir,
Well,
8
hang on a
out of
second.
11.
While David do his research,
No, the playing
what's,
11 I'm
what-
talking about.
My question is, like now getting on to Bangladesh, yes, they went down to Scotland in the qualifiers, but they have the resources like Mushfiqur Rahim, who got to his first half century in T20 international career, 29 match career. And then we saw some fine batting from Naeem Sheikh up the order, 2 half centuries in 3 matches. They have Shakib Al Hassan, and they have Mehdi Hassan Miras, the man, a quality spinner. And probably Taskin Ahmed will also be returning to the team for today's match. He's an express fast bowler, more than 145, he can deliver. So you think that Bangladesh have the resources to surprise David, Gower and England at Abu Dhabi today?
or in Morgan.
Yeah.
David, you're in the boat here, aren't you?
I'm flying to Abu Dhabi as soon as we finish this out.
But as David said earlier, apparently England on paper looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But you're playing in this part of the world with conditions suitable to the Bangladeshis, which they would enjoy in their homeland. And it should be an even match for me because of the conditions that I believe they'll be playing in. But you never ever count anyone out. I'm an individual that, regardless of what you have on paper,
Yeah.
I think Bangladesh will be looking to come hard at England. Why? They would have lost their first match, a very close encounter of such. And they'll be looking to bounce back. And I think this is a great opportunity for Bangladesh to do that. And not because England looks strong or huge on paper, but for them to believe in themselves and believe that the conditions that they'll be playing in would be quite suitable to them, so to be able to take advantage of with the spinners that obviously Bangladesh have.
Okay, sir, if we actually focus on England, Ben Stokes now will be joining the England team for the Ashes, but he is unavailable, and also, so is Jofra Archer, probably 2 of the best players in all formats for England at the moment. And without these 2 players, do you think that England in UAE, I'm not talking about anywhere else in the world, they can go, like David said, they are the favorites, of course, but do you think that they can just move ahead uninterrupted and they just can just be very smooth sail and they just can be calm and just produce results?
Nothing can be quite smooth of such. What I think, everyone's got to go out and play. And I'm of the firm belief every time, regardless of whoever you play against and whether you believe that they are strong enough, you've got to have belief. And I believe that the Bangladeshis, regardless of whatever England and the power, the stuff that they may have, they're missing Jeffrey Archer, they're missing Ben Stokes, but I still believe England is a solid enough team. There are enough professional players in that team, experienced enough to get the job done. But I think Bangladesh may have a say in that.
Had Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer been there in Emirates, it would have been 10 out of 11 than the non-English players.
Well, you can ask David about that one.
You cannot get away with it. There's no way you can get away with this. Ben Stokes, I mean, okay, you can talk about heritage.
Yeah.
Right, Ben Stokes' father from, lived in New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah.
Born in New Zealand.
Yeah.
That does not necessarily make him a New Zealander.
No, but he is a New Zealander, Ben Stokes. He was awarded the major sports award.
That is in the same way as French actors can be called Russian.
Okay, so thank you very much.
It's a complete sham.
Okay.
It's okay. It's a nice thing to recognise. It's a very nice thing for New Zealand to recognise something very special and to recognise the heritage. But if you ask Ben Stokes, if he had a tattoo on his left shoulder, would it be the full Union Jack, or would it be the New Zealand flag with a little Union Jack in the corner? These players, I mean, Just to answer Aaqib's point, actually, he said there's 3 of them. 3 of them in the playing 11. Okay, let's just go through. Let's just have a little look
So,
at
sir, the research is there.
I'll tell you something. Let me see. I want to see what David comes up with.
No, just try to find- All right, England. Right, Jason Roy, born in South Africa.
Born in South Africa,
Okay.
yeah.
Granted. Joss Butler?
Yeah.
Are we questioning the fact that he's English? No, that's 1.
Yeah.
Johnny Bairstow?
2.
2.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from Yorkshire, which of course is God's own country, if you ask a Yorkshireman. I mean, they'd like it to be a separate country, but actually it is still part of England. Moeen Ali, whose heritage
Heritage
is
From
from
Pakistan.
this part of the world,
Pakistan.
but
2.
very English in many other ways.
Yeah.
So 2. Livingston, Lancashire,
Yeah.
3.
Is he purely an Englishman? Liam
Well, I haven't
Livingston?
got his DNA results. I'm going to claim...
Okay.
Doctor,
Okay, so
you-
2.
if-
So 2.
maybe you can organise the test. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Livingston. Morgan, okay, Ireland.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
get half a point. That's very close. Very
Yeah,
close.
very
Just a
close.
little bit of water between.
Okay.
Milan, South Africa. Wokes, another one.
3.
That's 4.
Four.
Four.
Come on, you've got to keep counting.
No, no,
Four.
okay.
Jordan
No.
speaks like an Englishman, but comes from
Via
heritage.
Barbados.
Rashid
Barbados.
was English once. Rashid, another Yorkshireman,
Yeah. From this part.
and Mills, well, okay, as a
Sorry, sir.
Essex boy.
So
So
I
4.
think
4.
no. I think
fine.
there are
Four,
3.
four.
You,
Give me
you,
five, give
you
me
tried. You
No,
tried
no,
to
no,
include Morgan. You tried to.
No, I didn't.
No, 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 no.
No.
He's
Without
right.
Morgan,
He's
it's
right.
4.
Okay.
He's
You're
right.
right.
Folks.
You're right.
Okay,
So
so-
it would have been 8 out of 11.
Yeah.
Had
But can I speak on behalf of the multicultural society that is England?
Yeah.
That we welcome and embrace all these people to
Yes.
represent England, and they are proud. They are proud to do so. You know, they are
Well-
not distracted by other things, and they will be fighting for England on the field today. And that's all you need to know.
well, David, am I allowed to ask a sensitive
Yeah,
question?
Of course.
When South Africa, they were banned to play international cricket, and that was in 1969 after Basil de Oliveira's incident. And they were just isolated, yet they were allowed to continue their careers in England in county cricket. Am I right? Mike Proctor, Gartley
Mike
Rua.
Proctor certainly played a major part for Gloucestershire for probably 15, 20 years, just certainly 15 years, yeah.
And then they had Gartley Rua, the fast
Gartley
bowler.
Rua.
Gartler played for
Gartler.
Sussex, but he was a little bit after.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's
Robin Jackman, who also
Well, no,
once captained Zimbabwe.
Okay, Robin
actually, technically he
Jackman
captained
was,
Rhodesia.
Robin Jackman was the son of an English army colonel
All right.
who just happened to spend a lot of time in Zimbabwe. In the winters, he went to play in Zimbabwe, went to coach in Zimbabwe, and eventually moved down to South Africa.
Yeah.
So let's not confuse that issue.
And your friend Alan Lamb.
Lammy, born in Langemanweg, near Cape Town, the Western Cape.
Yeah.
So very much a South African-born player. I mean, it's interesting, but he came to England, did the qualification period, in the
Okay.
same way as Kepler Wessels went to Australia,
Yeah.
did the qualification period, ended up playing test matches for Australia, then went back and played test matches for South Africa. These are the rules that the ICC and the member nations of ICT accept as defining.
And nowadays,
But then
it's
why-
more easier. You have to only spend 3 years.
Kolpak.
No.
Well, the Kolpaks now.
If somebody playing in Pakistan domestic cricket, whatever, and if he wants to move to Ireland, only the period is 3
Qualification period is 3 years.
3 years.
And try and find out as well, Joe, I think there's something in between there where it says if you have a great grandfather or great great grandmother, somehow you can qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So don't you
So,
think,
but Doc, what's
no,
your,
but
what's
don't
your
you think
point?
we were contradicting the thing that John Embry and the other England players, they were banned once they toured South Africa with the
No,
rebel team.
I think there is a difference.
Graham Gooch was also part
Yeah, I
of
mean,
it.
the likes of Gooch, Embry, I mean, there was a squad of 14, 15 went on the first rebel tour in 1982, and they thought they could go because they were out of contract with their counties, out of contract with the governing body, what was then TCCB probably, I think, in those days, now the ECB.
Yeah.
They thought they're out of contract, they're in the clear. So they signed a contract, went. They had a misguided view that by going they could maybe help the situation, encourage sport in South Africa, encourage multinationalism, encourage multiculturalism, and all those things. That was misguided and naive, I give them that. And they thought they could come back and just slot in. But obviously it caused such a controversy that the English board felt they had no option and rightly said, OK, we'll give you a 2-year ban.
Yeah.
So they were punished for going to South Africa, but I don't think there's anything to stop a Mike Proctor coming to England. Was one of the great players of all time coming to England. It doesn't, that does not endorse the system in South Africa.
Oh, right.
I don't think. But
Okay.
others will
There was
probably
Eddie Barlow, and there were many.
Eddie Barlow played for Derbyshire. There's a
Was
fellow
that,
called Paddy Clift, who's
Jim
a great
Cook?
friend of mine, played for Leicestershire.
Jim Cook at Somerset.
Yeah,
Jimmy Cook went to
Somerset.
Somerset. I mean,
Cook
there's a
at
lot of
Somerset,
players
yeah.
came, but and there is
And they were
that
quality
issue.
cricketers.
Oh, they're
Good.
hugely. I mean, that's okay. If you want to talk about South African cricket,
Barry Richards?
Barry Richards played at Hampshire.
Yeah.
That's
not
my
not
white
to be
brother.
confused with
That's my
very
white,
hard,
white brother.
very hard to tell them
All
apart.
right.
But no, I mean, there are a lot of very good players came and earned a living, which they couldn't do in South
Peter
Africa.
Kirsten also played county cricket.
It's a long list. Peter Kirsten played for Derbyshire.
And
Yeah.
very good players.
Yeah.
Very good player.
I mean, that South African side of the era of their exile, they'd just beaten Australia.
Yeah.
Bill Laurie's team with people
I
like Ian
think
Chaplin.
4-1 or 5-1.
they-
Oh, yeah,
They
4-1.
destroyed them.
Yeah.
The great Graham Pollock,
Yeah.
people like that, Barry Richards, Peter Pollock, Dennis Lindsay, all these guys. I mean, they were an extraordinary team.
Colin Bland was also part of
And
it.
yeah, I mean, extraordinary team. But obviously, we in this current era, we understand fully that the regime they were playing under was not one that any part of the world could endorse. So
Correct.
hence the exile, hence the 25, 30 years of political and sporting exile. Hence now, this is obviously very, very tricky again, but hence now, the attitude taken by Cricket South Africa to the issue that came up yesterday and Black Lives Matter is very important to the country, very important to the cricket board to set an example.
I know we're on the subject here now. We're a little bit off key, but the West Indian players got banned for life.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that was reversed. And one of the things I believe that was the positive sides coming out of them going to South Africa, they took a lot of licks for that. But at the end of the day, they took a black team to South Africa. The folks in South Africa never seen that team in itself lose or look like even losing because of the apartheid regime and the players that they had playing for them. For black kids to have seen people like themselves coming to their country, where in so many different areas they never had any rights, being able to demolish a white team, that to me was a positive in a very big way, because they've never seen these teams beaten.
Yeah.
And to be beaten by folks your color,
Yeah.
that to me was a message sent. And that could have helped a lot of young South Africans after, not just black, but whites.
Yeah.
Because it gave each and every South African an opportunity, regardless of whatever your discipline in sport, for you to get an opportunity to go around the world and play, because there was this huge sanction against the country.
Yeah.
So in many ways, you may have some negatives, and also there's some little positive that could have come out of that trip.
This is quite deep, David.
It is indeed, John. Anyway, back to the slow left arm spin. And
So we are,
the-
we are going for the break, and I apologize to Aaqib and Sana that I didn't ask them the question in this chunk, because, it was a very intellectual discussion.
we apologize.
So we cannot be as intellectual.
Okay.
Anyways,
we'll see.
So what-
We'll see after the break.
Pun intended. So we take a break. We'll be right back. Game on!